I love your top, by the way.
Thank you. There we go. Hi everyone.
Hello.
It's Jess and Laura from J Artistry, and this week it's
My turn.
Laura's turn. So if you've seen our event, Laura is painting the
White rabbit
today.
yeah, onto a very bright yellow bedside table.
Beautiful. We'll just wait for a few people to pop on.
Yeah, and you can go share and stuff. Yeah, yeah. So if this is your first time watching us, this is our regular Friday live between 11 a.m. and 12 noon on Fridays. We take it in turns to paint. So this week it's my turn. Next week it'll be Jess's turn, and so on. Every now and again we probably will do a live together as well, work on the same piece. So it sort of keeps it a little interesting. And yeah, so the live this week, I've already painted the white rabbit onto the bedside table. I've done all the colour work on it, which is normally what you see in our lives, is that process. And what I wanted to show you this week is the actual outlining, the black work on it. It's the most nerve-wracking part, and it's the last part, so it's the part you don't want to get wrong.
I love this part.
I love it too. I mean, I love it. Seeing the piece, it brings it to life. It adds that 3D-ness. It sharpens everything. I really do enjoy doing it, but I also find it very scary as well because you don't want it to go wrong. So I'm looking forward to showing you. And fingers crossed everything goes okay. If it doesn't, I'll show you what I do to fix it. And yeah, I hope it will be an interesting live. I'm hoping if I get all the black work on the rabbit done, I'll do some text as well and show you how I transfer that on. And yeah, I'll show you while Jess is doing some showing. I'll talk about the type of brushes that I tend to use for the detail work. That's okay.
Awesome.
So I am so super fussy on brushes when I'm doing outlining. I buy a lot of new brushes when I'm doing this because you really need a really nice, smooth, sharp paint tip. And once you've used them once or twice, they tend to splay a little bit. So I tend to use really, really, really fine brushes. So I use spotters. So these two are spotters. I can bring them in. They are the camera. They are very... Camera will go short.
Is it not focusing?
No, it's focusing on me. It
So
did a second ago. There we go.
There
we go. It did then. It's going in and out. They are very small spotters. I like those. I have recently discovered very, very, very thin round brushes. When I was in the range, they had like a detail pack, and I really like those. So these ones are round brushes. Again, they're very, very thin, but they do tend to splay out. So I don't know if you'll see this. So this one I've used and I loved it. And I used and used and used it. Bring it on. I don't know if you can see. If I can get my hand in the right place. It is ever so slightly bending over at the top, which seems ridiculous because it's such a small bend. But when you are doing the black work, if you have a slight curve at the end, the way the tips have dried, it becomes very difficult to keep the lines exactly where you want them. So this one, there we go, is much, much thinner, partly because I've chopped it with a pair of scissors. It had splayed out, and I can't do it when it's splayed out, because what happens is as you're doing a really, really smooth line, the bristles that are sticking out also leave tiny little lines. If you're doing something that you really want a lot of random lines there, like fur, those are great brushes. But when you're doing something where you want really clear, smooth, sharp lines, you need something really pointy. So that's why I chopped off the sticky out bristles, which, okay, ruins the brush, but I wouldn't use it anyway because it's not going to give me the look I want. So these are the brushes I go through a lot. The other brushes I use for painting the colour, I use the same ones over and over again, and it's absolutely fine. But with the outlining, you do need to. So as I said, these ones that I'm using at the moment, these little blue and green ones, they were from the range. I think they were $4.99 for a pack of 5, and there was about 3 in there that were really good. So yeah, be on the lookout for very thin, sharp brushes. So those are the brushes I'm using on mostly. today. And I'm using black acrylic paint to outline. This is just Hobbycraft's black acrylic. It's nothing special. It's just plain black. You can use any black acrylic paint. And I like to thin it a little bit with water when I'm using it, not too much. As you practice, you'll get used to how much water you need. Sometimes you might put too much and sometimes not enough. When you don't have enough, the paint doesn't go over very smoothly. What have you done, Ive?
Did you want to just talk about the StreamYard and how they can click? Because we can't see at the moment. There's quite a few people writing comments and we can't see who they are.
Okay, so just before I get started on the painting then, so software called StreamYard. So that's how we're live to you, and that's how we have these banners and things, and it makes it a lot of smoother process without any technical problems like we were having at the beginning. When you leave comments, they come up in StreamYard for us to see, but we can't see who says what unless you click the link, which is streamyard.com/Facebook, and it's just to accept them showing your photo and your name, so that when we pop comments up.
So Susan says, hello ladies, we can see Susan.
Yeah, so Susan has done this, so when she comments we can see who it is, but it would be really nice if you wouldn't mind clicking the link and doing that, just so that we can see who's saying what. It'd be super great. Before you click on the video to expand it, the link is there, and Jess, if you pop it in the comments as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you can see it there if you're already watching the video in and it's up big on your screen. Yeah, so that would be awesome. Yeah.
Do you want to show them your piece you've been working on this week? Sneak peeks have been in J Artistry Live.
They have, yeah. So I put one on last night, and I'd done his legs, and I finished him now. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing sneak peeks, do join our guys, and you'll be able to see what's coming up for the live in the week. How did you? There we go. Flip. Is it that one? Yeah. I'm going to need you quite up close and personal today, so you can actually see what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so here we are. So the bedside table is painted in Annie Sloan English yellow. I really like the paint. It's very bright, and I am going to tone it down a little bit with some white wax, just because I really like the white wax looks. We've done a toy box, like a blanket box, in this yellow, and we've white waxed it before, and it looked really, really nice. So I'm gonna white wax it once I've finished. But Annie's own English yellow paint's really easy to work with. It only took 2 coats. It covers really well, and it's super forgiving as well. So when I was painting, I had some paint up here, only a little bit. I'd knocked it, and I got the paint, and I just loved the yellow back over it. And you can't see where I've touched up. You can't do that with all chalk paint. You definitely can with Annie Sloan. And as we're doing other paints in the lives, we'll talk about whether you can or you can't do that for those as well, as we're testing some of them. But for Annie Sloan, you can definitely do that. So if you're a little bit messy like me, then what does the just dip it in, not leave it in?
Oh, sorry, so you're going to put comments up.
Jessica's on tech.
So,
yeah. Oh!
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. That's going to stop me defacing my brushes. Also, I'm going to try that, and I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, okay, I'll try that on my bendy brush, the one that I love that's gone bendy. I'll try that, and I'll let you know. Okay, Mummy, I'll sort you with a drink, darling. Oh, thank you. Yay! Right, so I'm going to get started on the painting. So all the rabbit itself is painted in acrylic paint. A variety. I've not used a particular brand. I've used whatever I've had. I put the white on first, so I sort of painted in a section. So I painted his legs white, then I painted all the grey, then I did his jacket, painted that. All the colours went on really well. I did struggle with the orange. I don't think the paint is very strong in its hue. I had to put a lot of layers of that on to get the colour that I wanted. So So, you know, there's always, when you're putting acrylic paints on chalk paint, there's always a little bit of, you know, trial and error as you're painting, what works, what doesn't. All the different chalk paints can react differently. So, let's get started. I am nervous about doing this. I've not done this live. This is something we always avoid and tend to do it after the live. But, yeah, hopefully today it's going to go okay. Make sure I've got enough on my brush. No. It's a real dance between too much on your brush, too little on your brush, too much water, not enough water. So it is practice.
Susan said, he's very cool.
So very slow and steady process.
Oh, Karen said it will go brilliantly. It's not nice seeing everyone's faces. We forgot to say Happy Valentine's Day.
I've just not quite got enough water on my brush there. You can see here, it's just, I don't know if you can see it. Let me bring you in closer.
Yeah.
See how close I can get you and still paint. That's the challenge.
That's a good angle.
I can see what I'm doing as well. So it's not quite smooth there. So I'm just going to smooth it out. I'll put a little bit more water on my brush. I'm probably going to be super loud now because my head is like super close to the camera.
No, I think it's hard. Susan said, I love the art on the top of the rocking chair.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we haven't posted a picture of that yet, have we?
We've got to do the stage.
Yeah, well, we had a few repairs to do on it, which are now done. That sort of made that one a little bit slower. So with the black folk, I tend to vary how much I'm pressing down depending on what I'm doing. So I'm pressing down reasonably lightly. Bring it over. It's quite dark, isn't it? Can you see it okay?
Yeah, that's fabulous. Yeah. I just love this part. I love all the cross hatching. It just makes the piece.
It does, really does. Sorry, as I'm adjusting the camera, I'm trying to make sure I've got room between the camera and my paintbrush. So when I first started doing black work, the outlining, I would get super hung up on getting it to look exactly like what Tenniel does. Not like me at all, is it?
Yeah.
Actually, and what Jessica has encouraged me, and actually, you know, I'm finding it really, really nice and quite liberating, is that the little tiny little errors you get, the little breaks, the little thicker bits, thinner bits, it sort of makes it look more realistic, like it is actually drawn, and it makes every piece unique. So don't feel like I did at the time.
You feel like
that it's not right if it's not exactly like his. That's fine.
So Laura, do you have any Valentine's Day plans today? Does anybody else have any Valentine's Day plans today? If you do, let us know in the comments.
We are
very exciting day.
We have beef Wellingtons for dinner.
Oh,
that have little love hearts on them. My husband is incredibly romantic. He really likes things like Valentine's Day, and I am not so romantic as he would say. Yeah, but we're gonna have a little cook dinner when the girls have gone to bed, and we're gonna rent a movie. So we're not going out anywhere. All right.
Yeah.
It's quite hard. You're just pressing the camera against my paintbrush. There's challenges and there's challenges.
So you have changed the colour of the White Rabbit's jacket, haven't you?
Yes.
Only slightly?
Not intentionally.
No. Rest of my down, shall I?
I mean, this is my reference picture.
Yeah.
His jacket is quite orangey. It's a little bit more ochre yellow. And what I did is I put a base coat of quite an orangey yellow. Hold on, let me just concentrate on this bit.
It's the problem when you do such fine detail, you feel like you can't breathe, can you?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just hold my breath the whole time.
I do hold my breath a lot when I'm doing this, because you do have to have a very steady hand. So what I like about doing the rabbit actually is you can do lots of these motions. So rather than doing it all straight, you can do like a little dip and an up, dip and an up, dip and an up, and it sort of makes it look more like hair. And he has that, but rather than doing it separately, so doing a straight line and then adding those in, it allows you to not have to worry about keeping such a steady hand like I'm going to have to around this bit. So do you have any Valentine's Day plans, Jess?
Yes, I am working.
Oh, you are, aren't you? You're at Next tonight, aren't you?
I completely forgot to book the day off. But then afterwards I am seeing my partner, so that will be nice.
Aww.
We'll have some food.
You're so much more romantic than me as well, aren't you? Like, you really like things like Valentine's Day, don't you? See, in my relationship, I'm the one who forgets anniversaries, and I mean, like my husband, he remembers our wedding anniversary and our anniversary for when we met.
Yeah.
And I get 2 gifts a year. And I tend to forget both until like 2 days before. Then I'm often seen running around. I'm really terrible.
You equal each other out. It's all about yin and yang.
Yes.
If he wants to be all really soppy and lovey-dovey, yeah.
So at the moment, I'm just outlining the ear. There's quite a lot of cross-hatching on the ear, but I just want to outline it first of all, and then I'll start adding the cross-hatching on them.
Well, it's a shame you work, but at least you get romantic afterwards. I'm so excited. Just deciding what to have for dinner.
Are you going out for a meal, or are you eating at home?
I think we are going to order in.
Oh, that's nice. Come on, zoom in. Let's see what he's done there. Right. So when you're doing cross-hatching, you have to build the layers up. So I'm going to put a series of straight lines in. And again, I'm not worrying too much with cross-hatching, whether or not it's whether or not there's any breaks or thicker bits or anything like that. Then I'm going to go back in and fill in some lines so it's closer. Okay. Thank you. Right.
Duties for you there. Susan said, what kind of drawer handles are you putting on the piece?
I'm actually going to do wooden knobs, and then I'm going to blend them in. So hopefully from a distance you'll see the rabbit. And the door handles, it'll be a little bit like a visual illusion when they sort of disappear into the picture, I'm hoping. That's what I want to do. I've not done it before. But
it's quite tricky.
Well, I studied one of my topics at university was visual illusions. I've always had an interest in them. I find them fascinating. I'd like to do more stuff like that. So I just want to see if I can do it.
I think it's important as well when you have, for example, your artistry is right in the middle of your drawer fronts. So you have to make that conscious decision. Is there, like, for example, a big black metal knob going to completely destroy your art?
And I think it will.
Just blending it in for this piece particular, I think would look lovely. I have to say, out of all the Tenniel drawings from Alice in Wonderland, this one, the White Rabbit, and the Alice with the Treasure Cat are my favourites. I never ever get bored painting these. And you embroider them as well, don't you, Laura?
Yeah, I really like them.
A very relatable piece. I'm late.
I'm not surprised for you.
I am the White Rabbit. I need a pocket watch.
If you had a pocket watch, I doubt you'd use it.
I probably lose it. So the cross-hatching here is what's creating that tonal variation as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where the shadows would be on the artistry.
Yeah, that's right. So I've built up the layers there. So I've done a straight one, I've done a down one, and then I've done an across one, just to build up the layers. It's quite dark on the picture. And then I'm just gonna, from about here, just gonna extend that down over here.
Having said, the top drawer knob would be the knot in the next scarf. That's an idea.
Well, the drawer knob will go here.
Yeah. So you could kind of do it in the same pattern as the scarf, couldn't you?
Yeah, so on the doorknob.
Depends how big it is, how big the knob is.
Oh my God, Jessica. You're such a child. Yes, so I would like to use quite a big knob on there so that it will be easier for me to blend it in.
I can't see who it is, but someone's come on putting, hello, I'm late. Hi.
Well, we were as well, weren't we? We were a little bit running late. We had school plays this morning, didn't we?
We did. For us to be able to see you, if you could go on to streamyard.com/Facebook, and you just accept, Laura, is that what you do? And just accept it. When you leave a comment, we can see who that is then. And then you'd only have to do it once as well.
Yeah.
Every Friday on our lives, 11 and 12, you don't have to do it again, we can see you then.
Yeah, that's right. You only have to do it once. It's just with all the privacy laws and things, you have to, and obviously you don't have to do it if you'd rather comment anonymously. That's also fine. Jessica, your phone's just died.
Oh dear. So that means it's going. Got my name underneath it as well.
Doesn't matter, your name's not showing, I don't think.
Okay.
There we go. We're back on now.
It's looking good.
Sorry about that, everyone.
Just what I've been to StreamYard. It's annoyed me. So I'm still going with the cover. It has. We can now see you. Yay! Yes, I am sorry. That was my fault. You see, I'm in charge of technology, and I didn't fully charge my phone. So, yeah, it's. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's just one of those Fridays today. We've got poorly children running around with school players this morning, and then it's yeah, it's been a busy one. So you can see with the black work, I'm constantly refreshing my paint in my brush. That's just to keep it flowing smoothly. Right, I'm going to start on the, let's put his, what's it, and then I'll do his eye. It's just the top of his collar there.
Looking good. It's so intense against the yellow and the orange and blue.
Yeah, whether it was going to be too bright. I know it's probably not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Fiona said, have you ever used a glazing medium? We don't tend to, do we?
No, I haven't.
Something we are going to explore into, though.
What's the glazing medium for?
It's what you put, I don't know, actually. I think it's what you put over the top of it at the end. I know that's a glaze. I'm not sure, Fiona. What is a glazing medium? Maybe a bit forward. Let's have a look. Because I know, like, for example, you can tint waxes, you can tint your lacquer by adding bits of chalk paint into it and stirring it, and then when you paint over top of it, it creates a bit like a washed effect.
Right.
So whether or not it's something different you could use within the acrylic paints, I'm not sure. Just saying hello, we'll watch on replay. Hi, we can't actually see who you are. If you could go onto the StreamYard link that's going underneath the video, streamyard.com/Facebook. We'll be able to see who you are then. But that's fabulous.
So these like little wispy hairs, I'm just sort of putting my brush on and then pulling it up to the side. I want it to be quite thick, some overlapped. Be careful because I'm getting bits of black on me. Let's smudge anything. Super hard to keep a steady hand sometimes when you're doing this, and you can't put your hand completely flat.
Oh, it's Shaz. Hi, Shaz.
Okay.
So Susan said it's a medium of thinning acrylic, so you get a glazed effect over your work.
Oh, okay.
So you do add it to your acrylics, though. Awesome. Let's look into that. Is that a bit like Liquitex?
Liquitex is the brand, isn't it? Because I use a fabric medium when I want to use acrylics on my fabric.
So that waters it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, it stops it from making the fabric go as stiff as it would do otherwise.
Yeah.
So maybe with the black outline, it might help keep it a little more fluid for me, wouldn't it?
Definitely, it'd be interesting to have a experiment with it anyway. Fiona said it keeps your paint open or wet for longer, so you don't have to keep using water to get your paint to dry. Oh, that's perfect for your outlining then, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give that a go.
Definitely.
It's looking a little like a lady right now. With these lovely little eyelashes. It won't do by the time I'm finished, but it does tickle me.
Fiona says Liquitex do make a glazing medium. Awesome. We'll look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, that'll be great. It helps us do the black work, makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Susan said, I use it to tone down black areas.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's not so intense then.
Okay.
So that again, we could experiment with, couldn't we?
Yeah.
So what's nice then was on your last live, you did what would be the start, what you started with today. You did the blending, you up into a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas you've done that off camera this time, and now you're doing your outlining, which is what you did off camera. And last week's live, you showed two sides of how you do it, which is really good.
Yeah. One's gone on too bold there. I'm going to put some extra lines in just to... Yeah.
So what finish are you using on this, Laura?
I'm going to do white wax on it.
So you're going to do white waxing?
Yeah.
Tone the yellow down?
Yeah.
Fiona said, sometimes when you've had your paints out on a palette, they begin to get sticky. Just a little bit of glazing medium on your brush will smooth them out again.
Okay, that's brilliant.
We need to do that, because that's quite cost effective as well, isn't it? Or
yeah.
Paint's going to go hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I always... It's a little nerve-wracking. I'm hoping it's looking okay for you guys. And hopefully getting an idea of how I do it. It's quite hard trying to do it when it's on, like, upright in front of you rather than flat down on the ground. It's a lot easier when they are on the ground or on a table or something quite flat.
So just to recap, Laura, the base coat you've used is the Annie Sloan paint, the chalk paint in English yellow.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did you find painting with that paint brand then? How did you find with that colour?
Yeah, I really like it. It's a really nice paint to paint with, the Annie Sloan generally. You don't need too much water. I tend to paint straight from the tin. And I use water just to keep my brush loose, because sometimes it can sort of drag a little bit, which can then create brush strokes. So I tend to dip my brush in to the water, then dip it into the paint, then paint for a bit, and then dip my brush in and then paint for a bit more. And that works really well. It's a nice thick paint. It sands nicely as well, so when you want to take off any little bits or, you know, just to smooth it, It was a really nice
So
paint.
forgiving as well,
Yeah.
furniture, I find.
Yeah, so like I've got a little bit of black here. I don't think you can see it there, and there's a little bit here from where I've been leaning on it. But I can literally just take the yellow, paint over that, and you won't even see where I've touched it up. I did it up here already, and you can't see it. So it's a really forgiving paint, which is one of the reasons why I like it. Because when you're doing artistry, it's hard not to sort of lean on the piece. But it is very bright. I always, as soon as I start painting, because I've used this colour before, and I always get that, oh, is it too bright? Is it, or is it okay?
I love the bright, I do.
So, but I think the face is always the hardest part to do, don't you? Do you get nervous when you do black working on stuff, or is it just me still?
I do faces. They are my nemesis. The faces are. It's the eyes, isn't it, Laura? I can rework and rework them over and over again.
Oh. The girls are being demanding today. Oh, it's the cat. It's the cat that's been demanding. I'll put the whiskers on now.
I'm just going to bring people in for close up, I think, Laura.
Okay.
Let's have a nice.
Have a look. Oh, yeah, because you can really see the detail in the eyes there. Wow. They are actually red as well, aren't they? They are red. I've put some cross-hatching over the top because I don't want them to be like vividly red. I always find when they're vividly red in pictures, it creeps me out. So I try not to do that on my own pictures. I like to try and bring it down a little bit. So that's sort of his head. I'm fairly happy with that. I try not to fiddle her. Okay, I'm a real bad fiddler. I fiddle an awful lot.
I'm like, leave it, Lord, just leave it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep working down. I'm gonna do his scarf.
Karen said, "It's looking fantastic, Laura." With a love heart.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just thought this is a process I wanted to show you because while it is nerve-wracking, and I mean it's even more nerve-wracking when you're doing it live in case it goes wrong, but I think it's important for you all to sort of see the difference it makes as you're working down a piece, because it really does just define all those edges. It adds depth, so the piece can become more 3D as you're doing this. It becomes a little less cartoony and things. So I wanted to be able to show you so that if you have a go at doing any of your own, then hopefully this will give you a bit more confidence to get the paintbrush out and have a go. I had to do any Alice in Wonderland or White Rabbit drawings this week and post it in the J Artistry Live group. Absolutely.
Do you know what we haven't done?
Mm.
We haven't done the White Rabbit meets Woodgie Bend. We could do the whole of the stopwatch in Woodgie Bend, couldn't we?
Oh, that would be cool.
Trim, and you could mould it round and make that 3D. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
they do as well. You could do it all at the side.
Yeah, we want to be more adventurous and do more out there pieces so that they're more arty, and it's we'll get there, get more and more adventurous. I love the idea of doing Woodgie Bend with Alice.
I'm gonna move the camera a little bit.
Why?
You can see me in the background.
You can see what?
Me. I look a bit creepy because it's like, duh. There we go.
So here for his scarf, I've put an outline on either side of the dark blue. So here you can see I've got like a dark blue, and then there's like these little blue triangles. So I painted the light blue first, then I put the dark blue on top. And then now to make it'll look more detailed, and I haven't done anything other than put black on top. So Jess, do you want to hold it in closer so people can just watch what I'm doing?
Yeah, totally.
Just so, like, hold it like as close as you can. Without back in my brush. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm putting a line here. I'm going to put a line here, so I've just outlined that shape that I've done. Then I'm going to do a few in the middle, not worrying whereabouts. Oh, I've got 3 in that one. Then I'm going to just put another one. Oops, I pressed a bit hard on that because it's fine, doesn't matter. So you can see that you've got little bits of blue peeking through. It makes it look like it's a really complex design. It's very clever. It's a little bit of a cheating way to get his neck chief, because I think that's one of the hardest bits to paint on him. Is his neck
I
chief.
don't know. I find it's the jacket.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm just doing the same again there. So straight down over the blue there, look. And then straight down over the blue there. It just starts to make it look like... Okay, I'm going to end up touching that up later because that's going to annoy me.
See, fiddling, leave it.
I can't. I'm such a super perfectionist. I do really like to be 100% happy with something.
Susan said, is he a commission piece?
No, he's not a commission piece. He's just a piece that popped into my head when I saw the chest of drawers.
We have a sheet shed.
We do have a sheet shed. Yeah. So we are working our way through it. So some of our pieces will be commissions, but this one isn't. This was just I was going. Oops, sorry about that. I was going to originally do a white rabbit on the top, but then I got a little bit more ambitious and decided I would have a go at doing one on the front, which is really what I want to be doing, is stuff on the front.
Well, practical wise, I think, or design wise, I think that'd be better anyway, because a lot of people stand like lamps.
Exactly.
You know, cup of tea, and you come with a design, don't you?
Yeah. Whereas here, you really will be, hopefully, it will be quite visually impactful.
Fiona said you could legitimately use podcast pens. I think you use
Yeah.
acrylics, but in a pen, it's definitely not cheating.
No. I mean, I will do the texting Posca pens because I think they get a lot better finish. What I like about using the paintbrush is I can vary how thick the lines are a little bit more easily than I can with Posca pens. And if I'm doing something, if I was doing a piece that was like super, super big, I think the Posca pen would be fine for this. And I have used the Posca pen on some of my pieces, but I do like to be able to manipulate whether the lines are super thin or super thick. And you can get thin nibbed Posca pens. I mean, I've been using a 0.7 and that's been really quite successful. But I don't think you can get any smaller than that.
Karen said you must leave it. You must. It looks fabulous. Remember the last time? You don't want to redo all over again. Yes, you learn from that. They're like, oh, I just pressed it again.
Oh, my husband was so funny that night when he came home. He was like, "Where is it?" And I was like, "It's on the table." And he was like, No. Where is it?
This is your Alice in Wonderland wall art.
Yeah.
You've been working so hard on.
It was almost finished. And I'd gotten bothered by a little bit of inconsistency in the paint tone. And I tried to fix it and I'd made it worse. And so I painted it out.
I love it because you messaged me and said, well, I've sanded this bit down and now I've took some, like you took some of the flowers off. And then you was like, well, sanding some of that down now was taking some of Annie's off. And I'm like, so what do you have left? And then you're like, oh, well, I've just painted it now. It's all brief.
Yeah. I say I'm gonna start again. I'm really bad at not leaving it. My husband has told me that next time he's going to take the piece with me that I'm faffing about so that I can't touch it.
And to anybody else, like for example myself, I was just like, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and I think if you're like me and you have perfectionism, when I say I have perfectionism, that doesn't mean I produce perfect pieces. It just means I'm incredibly bothered by errors that only I can see. Then it is better to sort of just walk away. It's incredibly difficult. I don't manage it most of the time. But if you can walk away, if you practice, most of the time you'll look back at it and go, actually, that's pretty good. Which I've also done in the past when I've done it with other pieces, and I have actually managed to walk away. So with this piece, because it bends in and out, if I were to flatten this, none of the lines would meet up. I've sort of had to manipulate where the lines are so that they actually marry up from a distance. So that's another reason why I'm painting it like in situ rather than getting it down.
Shaz said you make it more unique.
I know, and this is I am learning. I'm learning. I'm trying to get better at it. I think the problem is when I see something, sometimes I see it as a mistake rather than something unique. And I'm trying to change my mindset so that I stop seeing mistakes and I start seeing individuality. But it's difficult for me because I'm a super self-critical person. So I do struggle with it. So if you do too, you are not alone. Right, so he has a button there. Gosh, a year ago, I would have really faffed over every single line and stuff, so I'm already better.
Goodness me.
This is the children coming in. You'll have to excuse us. This is the mum's working at home. Yeah, working around them is.
I'm trying to be so inventive as to new games to keep them occupied.
Yes. So I want to get this line in over here without leaning on that one. So the lines on his coat are super important for getting that depth in there. So it means you have to get them right. Is it not plugged in?
No.
No, it really will die. Unless we're still on your camera. So it might be okay. It might be okay. We'll see if it goes off. The lead is there. It must have just come out. It's on the floor. And just plug it in. We're not doing very well today, are we?
No, this is me. I'm a technique. I don't do this sort of stuff. I'm going. Hopefully that'll boost it.
Well, it says we're live, so I don't think it's interrupted anything yet. Come on then. Right, and then that one. So, in there. Bit too much water on my brush there. I'll pop a little bit more paint down. And we can't see anybody here. You don't normally see it on there, so if people just bear with us if you're making comments. We will be back. 55 minutes. Come on. Yeah, I mean it's almost finished anyway. It's not quite right there. So, what's the difficulty with his jacket? He's getting the angle of the lines right. Almost have to. You almost have to sort of step back and have a look and make sure that they're set up okay. I do like to try and step back on the piece just to sort of make sure that the proportions are there. You shouldn't be facing at me. Yeah. Is the phone still in the? Not showing there. Right. I don't know if we're live then or not. I'm gonna go on to our actual page. Showing that we're live. I don't think you are still live. Well, it says we are, so I'm still going. Are you doing his elbow? Yeah. Yeah. So if I join, I'm hoping that it's not going to be my face on here. Like, hey. I would just leave it if we're still live. Yeah. I can leave comments on here. Yeah. Poor Jess, having a right old time with them today. Right. So I'm just putting a few markers in really, just to keep me on track. I'm generally following where I put these in, so they're sort of going across and then down and around his arm. Put a little bit of shade in here, and then I put one across just to so that I know where they go. So this one here sort of comes down and then disappears into this part here. That's one of the reasons why I wanted that in there. Karen said hello, she's watching. And then I'm just going to bring this one down. Karen said you are still live, so definitely live. Yep. And Fiona said, which brush are you using, please? I'm using a round brush. It doesn't have a size on it, this one. It was part of a detail. The range had a brush pack in there that they called their detail brushes. So they're very thin ones. So it's a really thin round brush. I like to use spotters as well when I'm doing these. Stand up and lean and just touch up. I don't like raggedy edges, so I've just changed the angle that I'm standing at. So you often find when I'm doing these pieces, I'm up and down, I'm standing up and sitting down, all to try and get a better angle on what I'm doing.
Hi Finn, thank you for joining us.
So that's those downward lines done there on his arm. So then what I'm going to do is sort of take this as my guide for where the top one is. Sort of judging it, you want all the squares to be roughly the same size. So I'm just going to leave a bit of a gap. Follow the shape of his arm because that's going to give you the 3D-ness that you want. So you're sort of going up, across, and then down a little bit.
So how long roughly do you think it will take you to finish this piece of artistry?
Painting him wise, I probably have spent 2.5 hours painting him. I thought the line work would be a little quicker, but I always underestimate on line work because it is the harder part. So
and it is different. I think again analyse when you're painting.
Yeah. So it makes it a little bit slower. So I'm just adjusting the angle that I'm doing these lines now as his arm comes down. Just coming a little bit straighter across.
We've got a couple more minutes, you might be able to finish the line.
Yeah. I'm gonna go across here. So I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours?
Yeah.
Probably nearer the 4. They're very noisy, aren't they? So this part here is a lot of sort of lines where you're sort of bringing the brush down and then going across. So on this particular piece, I've got the issue with the draw shape to contend with, but I'm basically going to do a lot of those kind of lines because his jacket is sort of receding up here where he's holding the umbrella, so it makes it a lot darker. And then also down the side as well, because it's in shadow, I will be doing extra shadow lines like this.
Susan said lovely detail.
It's all about just building up the layers of his jacket where the cross hatching is concerned. I've not done one this big actually of him. My pieces tend to be my pieces have been mostly wall art, so they've been little. So what that will do is from a distance that will create more of a shadow down here. And you can go back in and if there's too much orange, you can go back in and just add in some little half ones just to really create that shadow. So it's all just sort of playing around with it. I swear I'm not so copying exactly what he's done. I'm just starting to bend those lines round, ready for me to carry on here. So by the time I've brought all the bottom ones in and up as well, it'll look like his arm's then coming back up. So I may well take the drawer out to do that bit and then put it back in, because it's quite difficult to keep your line straight because it's going underneath the there's me saying I'll get all this done in the hour.
I know. Can't tell what the time is on this side here.
Yeah, 1 hour and 5, so we should start. I'll just finish this bit and I'll start. Okay, so that's where we're up to so far. So I've painted the white rabbit in colour and I've just been adding in all the black work. So hopefully you can see the detail that that's adding and the depth. So I think you can just about start seeing what I'm talking about here. The way the darkness down here will bring the arm in. Because you can't really see it without that at the moment because it blends into his jacket. And then the shadow that's brought here. So I think that the black work adds a really nice touch.
You can see me out going.
So I basically need to finish his coat. This is very much similar to what I've done up on the head. It's just in around his legs and then again up the coat. So you've got a really good idea of how I'm going to do it. These lines I'm just going to bring straight down, and then I have a little pocket which it's all the same kind of technique. And then I will put some text on as well. I'm going to do I'm late and I'm late, just because I think that's quite iconic with his quote. Let me pop that back down.
Beautiful. She loves it.
Oh, thank you guys.
Great noise. The white rabbit looks amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Do you want to come back over here? We can. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Which way am I going? This way. The wrong way. Yeah, I'm hoping that was useful. Hopefully it's giving you an idea of how to do the black work.
Yeah.
And Tenniel, group, JR, we'll pop a link and we'd love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
And if you do join our group, I will film the rest, speed it up, so you can watch the rest of it and see. Yeah, it'll be super fast, and you'll be able to see it. I'll squash it all down into like sort of 10 minutes. It'll probably be pretty cool to watch it. And then to paint next week. And do you know what you're doing next week yet?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll keep it under wraps. Yeah, you'll have to join our Day Artistry Live group.
So it's all based on time, but yes.
Yeah. And Jessica and Monet draws this week. She will be with us on that, and we'll be posting a speeded up version of that as well, to be able to see the water lilies.
Absolutely. I'm also working on a few commissions, so I'll pop a few sneak peeks of those into the Artistry Live group.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I haven't just been I have been working on commissions, so yeah. I'll update that.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see
you next week. And happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
No, there we go. What is that? It's like the heart. Here we go.
Bye. You end up. Have a nice weekend. It's up the top right hand corner.
It's different now, isn't it? It just is paused.
Um,